time. Another week has gone by, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine that, how time flies. Like Groucho Marx said, time flies like an arrow and fruit flies like a banana. Well, it's crazy in the world of medicine today. Let me tell you what they're talking about. I just downloaded an article from Medical News Today. It says, frequent jogging increases lifespan considerably. Imagine that. Now, we know that that's not true, because there's never been a professional athlete to live longer than 100 years. Professional athletes, generally speaking, after they retire, get sick, and they don't force their lifespan curve in the United States at all. As a matter of fact, many professional athletes, while they are playing, are subject to athlete's heart, cardiomyopathy, heart disease, bad arthritis, high blood pressure, you name it. Now, I want to show you what I'm talking about here by going through this study just a little bit, kind of bringing the nutritional microscope to bear on this, because this is a really remarkably good example of the inherent built-in blind bias that the allopathic MD-directed pharmaceutical community brings to bear on everything that they do. Remember, MDs, bless their hearts, being trained in allopathic reductionism, that's the type of medicine they're trained in. Allopathic reductionism has no room for nutritional thought whatsoever. MDs have no training, no experience, no appreciation for nutrition whatsoever. It's completely outside of their wheelhouse. Anything having to do with nutrition is completely outside of their wheelhouse, 100%. Now, having said that, MDs are blind to anything having to do with medical nutrition, right? So here's the deal. Here's how the study went down. Here's what they said. In this jogging sub-study, they compared 1,116 male and 762 female joggers to a much larger number of non-jogging counterparts. Those who took part in the study had to report on how much time they spent jogging each week, at what speed, slow, average, or fast. Right? And here were their results. So here's what they did. They looked at 1,000 males who were joggers and 760 females who were joggers and compared them to the general population who did not jog. All right? That was the only, that was it. It wasn't how old you were, wasn't what race you were, wasn't what your blood type was, wasn't anything. It was just whether you jogged or not. And they collected the data over 35 years. 35 years. And here's what they found. Risk of death for male joggers was 44% lower than for non-jogging males. Risk of death for female joggers was 44% lower than for non-jogging males. Now, right then, that makes the data be suspect, because how can you have the same percentage for both groups of people? Something funny seems to be going on there, but we don't know about that because we can't see the details of the study. Male joggers lived 6.2 years longer than non-jogging males, and female joggers lived 5.6 years longer than non-jogging females. Now, the best health and survival benefits were derived from 1 to 2.5 hours of jogging per week, over 2 or 3 times a week. If it was more than that, it was deleterious. Let me say that again. If it was more than that, it was deleterious. You could actually jog too much. Okay? Keep that in the back of your mind. Now, here's the deal. What they did not look at was the nutritional supplement, the vitamin and mineral supplementing that the joggers did. Because joggers, people who run, tend to be more health conscious than couch potatoes. They do. They tend to be more health conscious than the average Joe on the street who does a 9-to-5 job and then comes home and needs to decompress, right? Most people who run, especially if they're regular runners, they subscribe to Men's Health or Women's Health magazine or Runner's Weekly or whatever it is. And every single one of those magazines, everybody in the jogging, quote-unquote, health community is advised to get into the culture of nutritional supplements. That's what they do. Runners and athletes tend to supplement their diet with vitamins, minerals, amino acids, essential fatty acids, sports drinks, right? They take in nutrients. And they're also on restricted calorie diets. They're on different diets than the rest of us. So what they didn't do, and what they should have done, is they should have had a third category. They should have had people who did not jog, who took nutritional supplements and ate, a healthy diet. Healthy as far as Dr. Glidden is concerned, not healthy as far as the world is concerned. But they did not do that because they're completely blind to medical nutrition. Therefore, the results of their data are skewed, and they don't even know that they're skewed because they did not take into consideration the nutritional supplementation. Now, the study further goes on to say this. According to the Dr. Schnorr, his name was actually Schnorr, he was a Danish guy, the following benefits have been linked to regular jogging. Yeah, no, duh. Improved bone density, improved immune function, improved oxygen uptake. Gee, that's a no-brainer. Improved cardiac function. Gee, that's a no-brainer. Improved psychological function. I don't know how they figured that out. Increased insulin sensitivity, lower blood pressure, better body weight control, etc., etc. Why is this? Well, here's why. When you stress the human body with exercise or weightlifting, for example, you break down tissue. Right? Arnold Schwarzenegger gets giant biceps because when he lifts those heavy weights, muscle tissue is destroyed. That's where the burn comes from. Feel the burn, baby? Well, the burn is muscle tissue being destroyed, being ripped apart, literally ripped apart. The muscle fibers are ripped apart. Post-exercise, then, the body rushes in to the damaged tissue and strengthens it and rebuilds it. So if you're running, what do you do? If you're jogging, what do you do? And you're putting stress on your bones, stress on your joints, stress on your heart, stress on your circulatory system, stress on those parts of the body that and your lungs, stress on the parts of the body that experienced increased activity during jogging. Well, guess what happens post-exercise? The body rushes in and attempts to strengthen the heart, strengthen the lungs, strengthen the circulatory system, increase the blood carrying capacity, the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood, increase lung capacity, right? Increase your joint strength, increase your bone strength. It attempts to do these things. It attempts to strengthen the parts of the body that the stress of the exercise had a negative effect on. But what does the body need in order to strengthen the part of the body that was stressed by exercise? Nutrients. It needs nutrients. It needs calcium and selenium and zinc and vitamin B1 and B2 and B3 and vitamin C and vitamin E and amino acids, 12 amino acids. It needs omega-3, 6, and 9. It needs peculiar trace minerals like erythrium and europium and hafnium and americanium and vanadium, and yes, it even needs arsenic. It needs all of these things in order to strengthen those parts of the body that exertion stressed. But guess what? We do not get those nutrients from the food that we eat. The food is lacking. It's impossible to get all of the nutrients that the human body needs, not to rebuild itself, but just to maintain its health. We're talking about rebuilding yourself after exercise. You're going to need more than the average bear. We don't get it. Culturally, we don't get it. It's not in the food anymore. Why is it not in the food? Because the lion's share of our nutrient needs are minerals. Minerals are only found in the soil. Things like calcium and magnesium and phosphorus and selenium and zinc and iron, they're found in the soil. Plants can't make minerals. Animals can't make minerals. The cow can't make calcium. If there's no calcium in the soil that the grass is growing in, that the cow is eating, there's no calcium in the cow, or very little. There's going to be a little bit of calcium in there, right? The cow would collapse under its own weight if there was no calcium there. But the levels are what's important. There's more calcium, for goodness sake, in maple syrup, ounce for ounce, than there is in milk. It's crazy what we have become deluded into thinking. So with the exercise study, the joggers, people who are health conscious, people who are into a disciplined running regime, are going to be taking nutritional supplements because that's part of their culture. They're going to be eating a reduced calorie diet because that's part of their culture. But the people that did this study didn't take any of that into consideration whatsoever. And because of that, the data is skewed. So they can't say that it was the exercise that did it, because they did not compare a group who exercised with supplements and a group who exercised without supplements, and a group who did no exercise at all and took supplements, and a group who did no exercise at all and took no supplements. That's what they should have done. But they didn't do that because they are blind to medical nutrition. Most of the research that's done around the world today regarding things like this is bankrupt. It is intellectually bankrupt, and it is based upon preconceived notions that are false. The preconceived notion here being that everybody can get all the nutrition they need just from eating from the 4 food groups and you don't have to worry about supplementing. It's a wrong idea. When you leave that piece of the equation out of the equation, you will always get the wrong answer. But because MDs are blind to their own blindness, because they don't know that they've thrown the baby out with the bathwater, they are completely convinced in the validity of their own experience and their own experiments. And it's a fool's game. It is a 100% fool's game. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the tip of the iceberg when it comes to our health in the United States. MDs being trained in the reductionistic method do not know how to keep you healthy. They know how to manage disease. I just want to finish up on the thoughts from the previous segment. Let's say we had 2 automobiles, the same year, the same make, and the same model. One, and they both had 20,000 miles on the car, right? And one of the cars had never, ever been tuned up. The oil had never been changed. The spark plugs had never been taken care of. There had never been new transmission fluid in it. There's never been a new oil filter. There'd never been a new air filter. And nothing had ever been done to the car. You just get in it and drive it and fill it up when the gas gets empty. And that's all you do to it. The other car is tuned up every 6,000 miles, like the dealer's warranty information or the dealer's maintenance schedule advises you to do. It's 100% on board with the maintenance schedule all the time. You take those 2 cars and you want to do a study. You drive the car that's never been tuned up at 40 miles an hour, and you drive the car that's always been tuned up at 100 miles an hour. Now, the person doing this study doesn't know that there's been any difference at all in the amount of maintenance that's been done to these 2 cars. All he knows is that these cars are the same year, the same make, and the same model. One of them's going to be driven at 40 miles an hour. The other one's going to be driven at 100 miles an hour. Well, because the car that's been tuned up can handle the stress of being driven at 100 miles an hour, it's going to be able to be driven at 100 miles an hour and nothing's going to happen to it. But the car that's been driven at 40 miles an hour that's never, ever been tuned up, something's going to happen. It's going to blow a cylinder. The engine's going to seize. The air filter's going to clog. The fuel line's going to clog. The radiator's going to blow. Something bad's going to happen because it's never been tuned up. So if you did a study like this and didn't know there was a difference in the maintenance of the 2 vehicles, you could therefore conclude that the best thing to do for your car is to drive it at 100 miles an hour. And that's exactly what these researchers did. That is exactly what these researchers did. You know, but the average Joe on the street doesn't understand the subtle complexities that inform medical research. And we also unwittingly assume that the scientists amongst us, the MDs amongst us, are smarter than we are. That is a wrong assumption. Look, you know, I don't like to criticize people in their absence, so I'm not going to criticize individuals in their absence, but I'll go out of my way to criticize an entire profession. I have no problem with that. You know, Jesus overturned the tables, the tax collectors' tables at the temple, the synagogue, right? Every once in a while, it's appropriate to get your dander up. Every once in a while, it's appropriate to draw a line in the sand and say, no more. I'm sick and tired, and I'm just not going to take it anymore. I've been doing clinical work for 23 years. front-line medical intervention, naturopathic, holistic, medical, general family practice for over 2 decades. The majority of the people that come through my door are people that have been hammered by conventional medicine, hammered by conventional medical treatments. And not only are the treatments, old-fashioned, ass-backwards, outdated, and completely in line with the allopathic view of disease management. Well, they're 100% disease management, never ever get to the root cause of the illness. Rarely do they get to the root cause of the illness. Not only that, but there is so much incompetence that happens in the medical field, just the wrong diagnosis. Or, they'll diagnose this disease and give the wrong medicine for it. Or they'll give somebody who's 100 pounds a 300-pound dose. Or they'll prescribe conflicting medicines. Or they do off-label prescribing. Off-label prescribing all the time. They'll prescribe a blood pressure medicine to help somebody get to sleep. They'll prescribe prostate medicine for somebody's arthritis pain. Off-label prescribing happens all the time, and it's okay. It's okay by the FDA, even though there's been no research, no double-blinded this or that in order to prove that it's okay to deliver this medicine for this condition. MDs do it all the time. And then they turn around and give the holistic physicians crap for being, non-research-based. Well, number one, everything that we do is research-based. And number two, half of the stuff that they do is not research-based. It's a gigantic field of hypocrisy. I don't know how these people can look at themselves in the mirror, quite frankly. There is so much incompetence that happens even when MDs are just trying to practice allopathic pharmaceutical medicine. Misdiagnoses all the time. Oh, let's give the patient 17 x-rays, and then 2 CT scans. Let's not worry about the amount of radiation that they've been exposed to. And not only that, Abilify, Accutane, Actos, Avandia, Avastin, Avelox, Boniva, you name it. The numbers go up and up and up. You're taking your life into your hands when you visit an MD. There are currently 62 drugs that there are lawsuits against in the United States right now. 62 drugs and 10 medical devices. Makes you feel nice and warm and fuzzy inside, right? These were drugs that were approved by the FDA after millions of dollars of research, and said it was okay for you to use, and now it turns out they're not so okay for you to use. As a matter of fact, they're killing people, and nobody goes to jail. The drug companies aren't shut down. The only people who benefit from all of this nonsense are the lawyers who undertake the class action lawsuits. Let's talk about one of them. It's a brand new thing, Actos. Actos is a study. Actos is a drug that was approved for the treatment of type 2 diabetes in 1999. That's 13 years ago. And is currently the world's best-selling diabetes medication, accounting for 4.1 billion with a B gross sales just in 1 year, between March 2010 and March 2011. The problem with Actos? They're showing that people who take Actos are at an increased chance to get breast cancer. Based on research that shows a link between taking Actos and developing bladder cancer, the FDA on August 5th, 2011, said it had approved changing the label to state that it should not be prescribed to patients with bladder cancer and that the drug should be used with caution for those with a history of bladder cancer. Nevertheless, the FDA has not announced an Actos recall. It's not going to recall it, even though there's evidence enough to support lawsuits against the company that makes it, that it causes bladder cancer. And we're okay with this socially, because we're not marching in front of the drug companies. We're not marching on Congress. The 5 billion man march against pharmaceuticals. We're not doing that. Why aren't we doing that? Because we are deeply embedded in the myth of modern American medicine, and it's killing us. It is literally killing us. So, and the MDs get it wrong all the time. They got it wrong with cholesterol. We talked about that yesterday. They're backpedaling now. There was an article published in the Saturday Evening Post. Dr. Wallach and myself have been talking about this for years, how there's no relationship between cholesterol and heart disease. You can download that link at fireyourmdnow.com. It's called Cholesterol Myth Busting. It's right there on the home page. For decades, they're telling you, oh, yeah, cholesterol is linked to greater amounts of heart disease, and you need to take your statin drugs, and you need to do that. And then they told you that the PSA test was valid. Now they're recanting on that. What's it going to be next? Why do we trust these people with our lives? As God is my witness, the only reason that I can believe is just because we don't know there's a better way. Well, guess what? There is a better way, and it's the holistic medical nutrition way. So let's talk about that right now. Dr. Wallach, who is the founder of the Longevity Company and the leader in the field of clinically applied medical nutrition, Dr. Wallach has more experience and has done more research with applied medical nutrition, not theoretical medical nutrition, applied medical nutrition than any physician on the planet. Dr. Wallach's research that was completed 30 years ago showed that the body has the need for 90 essential nutrients. There are 90 essential nutrients that the human body needs. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 3 essential fatty acids for a grand total of 90. It is impossible to secure all 90 nutrients from food. You cannot do it. What's required for health is that we take all 90 essential nutrients every day in doses appropriate for our body weight. This is one of the mandatory essentials for long life. There are 2 other essentials for long life. We need to stop eating food that's hurting us. We need to leave off from our diet the consumption of foods which are pro-inflammatory. And there are 10 foods that we recommend everybody stop eating. And the last thing is consumption of a group of bionutrients, phytonutrients called antioxidants. Antioxidants neutralize free radical damage in the body. Antioxidants promote longevity. The cultures around the world that live to be over 100 and they're healthy, on average consume 20,000 antioxidant points. Antioxidants are measured by something called an ORAC point. These cultures consume 20,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. In the U.S., we're lucky if we get 1,200. They get 20,000, they live to be over 100. We get 1,200, and we die in our 70s. And when you die in your 70s in the United States, it's not pretty, right? You've got no teeth, you can't hear, you can't see, you've got no hair, you've got 5 fused vertebrae, you've got 1 kidney, you've got no gallbladder, you've got 7 fake knees, you're on 17 prescription medicines, you can't remember the name of your kids. The golden years, brought to you by Bus Driver MD. When is enough going to be enough, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, it is so bad. We start planning on putting our parents in, old folks' homes when we're in our 30s and 40s now. We start saving for it because it's inevitable. Well, it's inevitable in the U.S., but it's not inevitable in third world countries. The countries that have people over 100, they're like, these people are lucky if they have a roof over their head. There's no Walgreens, there's no CVS, there's no prescription drugs, there's no hospitals, there's no doctors, there's no medical insurance. And they're 105 years old, chopping wood and carrying water. In the United States, we're 75 years old and dead. This is the problem. So what do we need to do? 90 essential nutrients, 20,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day, 20,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day, and stop eating the 10 deadly foods. You can download the list of the 10 bad foods at fireyourmdnow.com. fireyourmdnow.com, where you can also, for $5 a month, gain access to my webinars, which represent the state-of-the-art of medical nutritional science, applied medical nutrition in the United States right now. I'll give you a look at some of the subjects that are available right now. We do live webinars every Monday and Wednesday night, and then we record, we archive them, and put them in the library, and you can watch them 24/7. Here is a list of some of the subjects you can watch right now. You can go home and watch it today. You can just click on the webinar link, purchase the webinar for $5 a month, and watch this to your heart's content. Calcium, healthy blood sugar, lupus, high blood pressure, food allergies, how to detox safely, cholesterol myth busting, prenatal nutrition, osteoporosis, chronic fatigue, sugar, the basics of showing people the wonders of medical nutrition, the dementias, how to have a healthy heart, how to lose weight healthily like Alex Jones did, and arthritis, gout, and gallbladder. And there's more every week. Every week we post a new archived webinar. Folks, this information represents the best, most science-based, most clinically verified medical nutrition interventions that are available, and it is 1,000 times better than your medical insurance. Because your medical insurance does not prevent disease. Your medical insurance bankrolls you against the high cost of conventional medicine. Why is conventional medicine so expensive? Because it doesn't work. And because it doesn't fix anything. Conventional medicine manages disease. It does not fix a gosh darn thing. So rather than give your hard-earned money, $500, $600, $800 a month for medical insurance premiums, are you kidding me? How about $5 a month? Is that better? Does that sound better than $500? Which is better, $500 a month or $5 a month? Well, $5 a month. So cancel your comprehensive medical insurance. Buy catastrophic insurance instead. Use the webinars to educate yourself about how you can recover your health, because healing is easy. Surgery is difficult. Healing is easy. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't know what you don't know. I recommend everybody join us. So the Monday night webinars are free. You can access the Monday night webinars from anywhere around the world, Monday nights, 8 o'clock Central Time for 1 hour, from 8 to 9 p.m. Central Time every Monday night. And you can access the free webinars just by going to fireyourmdnow.com and clicking on the link that's on the front page. They're free. What's better than free? Get your feet wet. Come on board with the webinars. See what we're talking about. Get informed about the wonders of medical nutrition. And this, again, is what drives us forward. If you think that this is, some type of where all we're doing here is just selling vitamins, well, guess what? We're not. We're showing you what we're up to and seeing if you'd like to take the plunge also. And what drives us forward is results. One thing that anybody can do, it's $19 a bottle. There's a longevity product. It's called plant-derived minerals. It's $19 a bottle. $19 for one bottle of plant-derived minerals. And if everybody listening to this radio broadcast purchased just one bottle of liquid plant minerals, just one bottle, and took 1 ounce a day of the liquid plant minerals, 1 ounce 2 times a day, 1 ounce 2 times a day for 2 weeks, 1 ounce 2 times a day for 14 days, you will feel better. And if you don't feel better, guess what? You send the empty bottle back and you get your money back. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. $19. Take the risk. Check us out. You can purchase these supplements at the wholesale price by going to fireyourmdnow.com and click on the vitamins and minerals and nutritional supplements link. It's right there. It's as easy as point and click. We want you to point and click your way to health. We've made it easy because, remember, healing is easy. And what my entire profession leans on is results. The only reason that we exist in a hostile environment like there is now in the United States is because we get results. People come to see us. We support and promote healthy blood sugar. They had type 2 diabetes before they saw us. Now the type 2 diabetes is gone. They had arthritic knees before they saw us. Now their knees are nice and healthy. They were 100 pounds overweight before they saw us, and now they're at a normal body weight, and they did it easily. We have the secret to weight loss that not even Oprah knows. Talked about this last week. Weight gain is not a disease of excess. It is a deficiency disease. The MD's got that one backwards too. Heartburn is not a problem with too much stomach acid. It's a problem with not enough stomach acid. The MD's got that one wrong too. Kidney stones are caused by not enough calcium, not too much calcium. The MD's got that one wrong too. They got it wrong with 61 prescription medicines that are killing people that there are now lawsuits against. They got it wrong with a great number of things. They got it wrong with so many things that their profession is the leading cause of death in the United States. And we still go to them. You know, they should pass a law that makes it mandatory. You put a sign on the side of the hospital. Instead of saying healthcare, it should say disease management. It should say for-profit disease management, use at your own risk. That's what it should say. You know, if it wasn't such a medical monopoly in the United States, every hospital would have a sign on the side of it that says, this is a for-profit disease management facility. Use at your own risk. They put warnings on cigarette labels. Lung cancer, less people die from lung cancer a year than die from visiting MDs. And I'm the quack. Ladies and gentlemen, consider this radio show the blue pill. I'm going to help you pop out of the medical matrix, help you figure out how to recover your health with science-based, clinically verified alternatives to drugs and surgery, which exist right now in real time today. And I think we've all been taking too much fluoride. I think there's been too much fluoride in the water for too long here in this country. I was in medical school. I'll never forget this. There was a study that was done about 30 years ago on 2 villages in India. The only difference between the villages, it was the same number of people, more or less, the same latitude, same demographic, same horrible conditions. The only significant difference between these 2 villages of people, there were about 25,000 people in each village, was that one of the villages had fluoridated water and the other village did not. And over the course of 5 years, the villagers that had been drinking the fluoridated water had a significant reduction in their IQs. Significant reduction in their IQs. They were dumbed down. I think we're dumbed down here in the United States. I think it's the only reason that we put up with this type of nonsense. I was giving a lecture. You know, I give about 60, 70 free lectures a year all around the country, right? And they're free. I'm giving a lecture talking about all this health stuff, and I spend the first 60 minutes of the lecture talking about how medicine has evolved in the United States, talking about the differences in philosophical orientation and treatment orientation between the MDs and the holistic physicians like myself, right? It's like telling somebody the difference between a Buddhist and a born-again Christian. It's a pretty significant difference, right? And it's not rocket science either. It's pretty easy to understand. People just haven't had it lined up for them like the way that I line it up for them, right? A very informative, fun, easy lecture, and I spend all this time, and then I spend all of this time outlining with detail, with references from medical journals and, you know, newspaper and TV shows, the dangers of prescription medicine. And then I show how unbelievably poor the treatment outcomes are, and then I show demographically compared to all other nations in the world how poor the health of United States citizens are compared to everybody else in the world, and how much more money we spend on health care, disease management, than any other country in the world. And then we show the statistics about bankruptcy, right? We put it all together for people. Show the built-in unbelievable failures of the conventional medical model, and underline and outline the gigantic treatment differences between the way that an MD looks at your health and the way that a holistic physician looks at your health. Now, we do this all in an entertaining fashion for, 60 minutes. Then we take a break, and then I come back and I start to explain the wonders of science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. And you know that this is our view of arthritis, and this is how we fix it. These are our treatments to support and promote healthy joints. This is our view of type 2 diabetes, and this is how we fix it. This is what we do to support and promote healthy blood sugar levels. And after all of this has been said and done, and if I do say so myself, it's a fantastic lecture. Really fun. People stay. It's one of those lectures where you look at your watch and it's like, oh my God, is it over? Is it really? You want the second run is the type of deal. People always stay extra. They stay over, right, to get their questions answered. And invariably, people will approach me at the end of the lecture, and they'll have a question about what to do for their type 2 diabetes or what to do for their blood pressure or whatever. I'll tell them for free, again, right? Free. It's not a consultation. It's just free information. And they look at me and you say, well, you know what? I have to ask my doctor. I have to see what my doctor says. Well, I'm a little skeptical about these vitamins. I have to ask my doctor. What are you, nuts? I just spent an hour telling you 2 hours telling you why you shouldn't ask your doctor. This is how deeply embedded in our culture the myth of the MD is. It permeates all through the society. And we need to wake up from it. It is a gigantic problem. Ladies and gentlemen, the worst thing that anybody can do when they're confronted with a chronic health condition is hire an MD. You heard it right, ladies and gentlemen. That's why this show is called Fire Your MD. But it's not just called Fire Your MD. It's called Fire Your MD Now. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm looking forward to moving this ball forward next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Tune in. I'll see you then.